What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my game channel. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? And it's time once more for the weekly show. This is episode 195. I guess one half of episode 195. Sorry this is coming to you guys so late. I had another video that's uploading right before this, so it's a whole thing. Once that one's done, I'll start uploading this one, so it's a whole thing. Either way, as I said, this is going to be one half of episode 195 because we will be doing part 2, which is everything not Assassin's Creed, Valhalla related, tomorrow. There's kind of another reason why I'm also doing half the show tomorrow. I'll go into that in a second, but real quick, if you don't want to hear channel announcement sort of stuff, / what's kind of going on with me, skip to the timestamp. That's when we'll actually start talking Valhalla. I'm not going to provide a timestamp for each individual article, but I will number the articles in the order we talk about them. So if you want to skip around / go read the articles without me talking in your ear or whatever, you can do that. So on to what I was talking about. Another reason why I'm doing this show, half the show on Monday, is because until I go back to work, kind of during this whole quarantine thing, I'm going to start doing the show on Mondays. Now, and the reason for that is it's just I've gotten the habit of doing it. I'm very much ruled by my habits, my schedules, and stuff like that. It's just how I am. I started doing the show on Sundays, really because those were usually the days I had off from work. Sometimes I had to push it because I wouldn't get the Sunday off, but I have the Monday off, and it's easier that way, whatever. But, for the most part, I did it on Sundays because, like I said, that was just easier with my work schedule. Right now, due to certain reasons, I've pushed the show back a few times and just started doing it on Mondays the last couple weeks or so. And it's become easier for me and a habit for me to do it on Mondays. So until I get back to work, I'm just going to start doing it on Mondays instead of saying I'm going to do it on Sunday, then constantly saying I'm pushing it back. It's a whole thing. So, the next thing is, how long is the show going to be on Mondays? When will I either move it back to Sunday or pick a new day for my new schedule? No fucking clue. I'm a little, I don't know the way to put it. I'm going a little stir crazy here. I'm a little annoyed or whatever. Not saying 100%, oh my gosh, I need to get back to work or whatever. It's just, it's getting a little frustrating for me because I need to know, look, should I file for unemployment? Should I not file for unemployment? It's a whole thing because I don't know when I'm going back to work. Because look, if I'm going back to work by the end of the month or halfway through the month, I might not file for it. Am I going back to work in 2 months, 3 months? What? I don't know because Michigan hasn't made up their flippin' minds. The governor is saying the lockdown order is going to the end of the month. The legislature says, no, we didn't agree to this. So now there's a big question. Can the governor do that? Can they not? I don't know. So it's a whole thing. It's frustrating. It's stressing me out. I don't want to take money from the government. It's a thing with me. I just don't want to do it. But at the same time, if I'm going to be out of work for another 2 months, maybe I should. It's a whole fucking thing. It's causing me a lot of stress, causing me a lot of weird stuff. If you can tell that I'm talking, I usually talk pretty fast. I'm talking faster than normal. I'm really, like I said, I'm really stressed out. It's a weird thing. So, either way, the show's gonna be on Mondays until I get back to work and I get a new schedule and figure out what day works best for me to do the shows. So I'm just putting that announcement out now. Sorry for the weird rant or whatever. It's just I had to get it out before I exploded. So, all right, let's actually move on to the main topic of the show today, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't know, man. I'm taking I keep going back and forth on Valhalla, man. There are things I'm reading that sound super cool, but I thought the same thing about Odyssey. It's no secret, man. I think Odyssey was a fine game. I don't get everybody who's just blown away by it. I really do not understand the love of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I didn't see it. I did not see what was so great. I mean, on the one hand, our next article is actually going to mention it, that everybody loving that whole male female, you could play as a male character or a female character. I'm like, I mean, it was a neat factor, but honestly, if you're going to do this, do that. I like the way Syndicate did it better, where you got to play as both characters and they were both interesting, unique characters, instead of you play as one of the twins and then the other twin is an asshole. That's kind of the whole thing with Odyssey. To me, Odyssey felt like it had no heart. I would put it that way. It felt like such a corporate, by the numbers kind of game that it's like, okay, here's your action, here's your generic gear system that was clearly ripped out of The Division or out of an MMO. It didn't feel like an RPG, you know? I mean, I get it. It's trying to have that ambiguous, you tool your skills and gear to your playstyle. Okay, The Witcher did the same thing, and it felt a lot less corporate, like I'm filling out a Microsoft spreadsheet. But that's what doing it in Odyssey felt like. It felt like I was filling out, like I said, like a spreadsheet. It was boring. The stealth wasn't good. I found it annoying, kind of confusing, kind of like how it was in the original games. Look, I'll always say Assassin's Creed 1 is my favorite game. It is a very special place in my heart. But man, the stealth was kind of confusing in that game. And hell, that was before you could crouch. But yeah, I get the same thing out of Odyssey. It just the different states of the enemies was confusing. I found it was so much easier to run in and just start hacking and slashing. And even then, the combat, was a little more advanced than Origins, but at the end of the day, it just turned into hack and slash. I thought the last time that I feel that stealth was the best in AC was probably Syndicate or Origins. You know, like I said, I think Origins started to have this problem that Odyssey had, and then Odyssey just went full bore into it, in my opinion. It did that whole war between the Spartans and the Athenians, which, guess what? That's from what I can tell, it's kind of going to come back into Valhalla. But guess what? Valhalla is going to have you pick a side, which, guess what? Odyssey should have done. It should have either had it in the story or made you as the player pick a side. Because this whole, you could fight on either side and there's no consequences. You only got gear from doing these little battle things. And then it wouldn't say, go back here and help defend the Athenians or whatever. It would just say, oh, nope, this little section, it swapped back to the other side. And is there a consequence for it? Nope. Is there a reward for it? Kind of. You get some gear, but other than that, nope. It doesn't affect the world, the story. It was boring. It was bland. It was filled with good ideas that were I don't want to say horribly executed. They just weren't. It was just kind of, here's the game. Hell, even the modern day story, I kind of got that vibe out of, especially for the fact that I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I feel like there was a chunk of time missing from the end of Origins to the start of Odyssey. I'm talking the modern story. And if you tell me I have to read a book or watch a short film or whatever to understand that time in between, that's just like everyone who tries to say, well, if you want to understand this from the Star Wars movie, you have to read this piece of ancillary whatever. And I'm not even talking, if you want to understand this weird side thing from Star Wars, I'm talking if you want to understand this main plot point entirely, you'll have to read the novelization, or you have to read this piece of ancillary media, or there's a word for it. I can't think what kind of media. It's something media, third-party media, I guess. Whatever. No, this is a video game series. Assassin's Creed, first and foremost, is a video game series. If I want to if it's important, put it in the video game. If it's not, well, then you can put it in a book to further explain the world and explore things. But this may be my biggest gripe with Assassin's Creed over the years is that they have done main story stuff outside of the video games. Like, there was story that's told in the comic books that you see the resolution 2 and 3. Well, guess what? As an American, I didn't see the comic books because I'm not Canadian. Yeah, sorry. I'm getting off topic here. I should be focusing my anger at Odyssey. But no, what I'm saying is Odyssey to me just felt soulless and corporate. That's the rant I'm trying to get into. And I promise, we're leading into this first article, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla is being developed by a frightening 15 studios. Article Simon Barker, Push Square. So the original story is you will have grown old by the time Assassin's Creed Valhalla's credits conclude. Primary developer Ubisoft Montreal has confirmed it's collaborating with 14 other studios to bring the Viking-themed open world to life. The French publisher revealed the release's name and setting as part of a live stream yesterday, with a teaser trailer due imminently. That was during that weird concept art live stream that they did. That was Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah, if this article was on Thursday, then yeah, that would have been Wednesday. We're not sure which teams are contributing, blah, blah, blah. Here's all of those all the teams working on it. But yeah, it's like I said, Odyssey to me felt corporate. Odyssey to me felt, and I swear when I started this point, I did not mean for it to turn into a rant. But if you know me, I like to rant. It felt corporate and annoying, and that's kind of what this is. Of all the news I saw, this is the thing that fills me with the most dread. Is this frightening 15 studios. It's almost like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, too many fingers in the pie. Pick an idiom that you want to use. That's how this feels to me. It just it worries me that there's going to be too many voices on this project, or even that there's going to be so many studios working on so many different pieces that it's not going to fit together right. It's just something about it kind of sets me off, and kind of back to what I was originally trying to get at. Was I'm going back and forth on this game from, what was it that Chris on Family Guy said? It's, I'm going to go up to my room and keep alternating between hopeful optimism and suicidal pessimism. Something like that. It's really put me, I just keep going back and forth because I like the setting, even though I keep saying I want a feudal Japan AC game with ninjas. But, I like the setting. I really loved that opening trailer, but man, that 15 Studios thing really just kind of sets my antenna up. Kind of a weird thing I want to address just from the screenshot, because this is something I brought up during the trailer when we watched, what was that 2 days ago? I brought up the idea, is this going to be like AC4, in which the main character isn't a part of the assassins, but their tribe or their clan, I guess clan is probably the better term, their clan kind of has similar viewpoints, and he runs into the assassins and joins later? Or, like, kind of partway through the game, kind of like what Edward did in AC4? Or is it going to be he's with them from the start? I think it's going to be the former. I think he's going to join them somewhere partway through, because I have a feeling that what they're going to do with this game is they're going to try and do what they did with AC4, where they are going to try and make a really cool Viking game with Assassin's Creed stuff kind of sprinkled in. Unlike what they did with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where they tried to make a really cool, ancient Greece game without all the assassin stuff sprinkled in. They just left it to be ancient Greece game with that, in my opinion, was kind of bland to begin with, but whatever. Alright, moving on. Another Push Square article by Liam Croft. Assassin's Creed Valhalla lets you play as either a male or a female character. Assassin's Creed Odyssey allowed the players to play as either a male or a female character for the first time in the series. That's not true. That is blatantly an untrue statement. Let me rephrase. Maybe nobody wants. Maybe it's that. Well, that's not an untrue statement, because in Syndicate you didn't get to pick whether or not you wanted to play as a male or a female character. Well, yeah, but you could play as either. You played as both the twins. Hell, there was portions of Origins that you played as Bayek's wife. I mean, you want to say, well, that one doesn't count because Bayek was the main character, or Syndicate doesn't count because Jacob got more screen time, and I think that is true. I think that should have been a little more spread out, because I thought Evie was also... I had a thing for Jacob because I do kind of like his brash attitude, but I did think Evie could have used a little bit more story time. That's beside the point. But no, saying this is the first time that you could play as... Odyssey was the first time you play as either a male or a female character. You could pick whether or not you wanted to be a male or female character. And it's on... Did you want to play as a male or female character with no personality, and then let the other one you didn't pick become an asshole? Because that was basically what Odyssey was. I'm really hoping that's not the situation here. I'm really hoping that we get to... that, again, our character gets some personality. Or hell... This is something that I've noticed in some games where they let you pick whether you want to be a male or female character. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I don't notice it at all. But sometimes, and this is a feeling I got in Odyssey. And I know this video turned into, let's talk about things that were cool about Valhalla. Now it's become, let me talk about what I didn't like in Odyssey. But this is stuff I didn't like in Odyssey, so I hope it's fixed in Valhalla, sort of kind of thing. But with Odyssey, because I played a little as the main character, I did the LP as the female character. The dialogue never seemed... It always kind of seemed off. Like, it kind of felt like they were talking to a potato sack. Like, they were talking to this androgynous character that, and I'm sure everyone's like, oh, well, that's good, and I'm sure there's going to be those people that are like, oh, well, it's good that they're not talking to the character any different if they were a man or a woman. And my answer is, no, you talk differently to men and to women. You want to act, people want to act like, oh, no, we're so forward thinking or whatever, but no, we do. It doesn't feel natural. That, and I'm not saying people always had to treat the woman like they're less or like they're sexual objects or whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the dialogue always felt robotic and like they were talking. It's almost like how they talk to the main character in the Persona games, where every time, in the subtitles it'll say your character's name, but they'll say you, senpai, boss, joker, whatever, leader. They'll say some stand-in for your name. It's very obvious, and for me it's annoying. I don't like that whole name your own character thing, but that's a different story for a different day. Even though the characters had names, you would say their names, it still it felt just something about it felt very mechanical. It just didn't seem like natural dialogue, and I'm really hoping that gets fixed here. And again, I don't mind the whole male-female character, even though I'm going to be playing as a male character because, come on, look at this sexy son of a bitch. It's Ivor, I believe is how it's pronounced. God, he looks cool. Oh, I'm excited. Where were we going with this? I'm sorry. I gotta stop ranting here. Let's see. It launched a couple years ago. Thankfully, next installment will bring that widely requested feature back. I also don't get why that's a widely requested feature. Whatever. Might just be me. Confirmed via Ubisoft press release, Valhalla will allow you to play as either a male or female Viking. No matter which gender you choose, you will end up taking the name of Ivor. You'll be able to customize their hair, tattoos, war paint, and gear, as well as influence political and combat decisions. Dialogue choices will also make a comeback, choosing between protecting your clan's home in the future. Unfortunately, Ubisoft hasn't shared what the female protagonist looks like just yet, but we're happy in the fact that we will be able to play as a woman once more with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In the meantime, check out the male Viking character model below. Again, I don't get why it's, we're excited that we get to play as that's just one of those, okay, it's an interesting feature. It's like I said, if done well, I shouldn't even notice it. If that, you kind of get what I'm saying? But it seems like we're trying to be so forward thinking and at the same time so progressive that it ends up, like I said, feeling robotic and just trying to check boxes. That's kind of how it feels like at some point. So it's kind of like art goes out the window to me. That's how that feels. But I really like I don't mind the fact that we can swap characters. The biggest thing here, though, okay, let me get off the things that are annoying me and actually talk about shit that I actually really do like. I love the level of customization that we're going to be able to get here, because it kind of reminds me of Unity, where we could mess with our robe color, how heavy our armor was. But in this one, we get to go full bore. We get to customize hair, tattoos, war paint. We really get to customize our Ivor and really make them our character. Now, it's as I said earlier, that can quickly go into it's going to end up, we're going to feel. I'll bring back a criticism I have of games like Persona and games like with oh, come on, brain, like Far Cry 5, to pull out another Ubisoft game, in which that we can name our character, or we play some voiceless, faceless character. To me, in those kind of games, I feel like I'm not initiating action. Even though in Persona, I'm the leader, I'm not making any decisions. Everything's being made for me, even though my character's the leader. But it happens because my character has no voice or name. And I get it. They don't want to give you a name or a voice because we want you to impose yourself in on that person. Fine, but still, give me dialogue and something that makes me feel like a person and not a marionette. And I have a similar thing with what Far Cry 5 did. So with this it's I'm less afraid because we do actually have a name. Obviously, we'll have dialogue choices and we'll be a character. But I don't know, man. While customizing the hair, tattoos, and everything is cool, I'm really afraid that there's gonna be some weird graphical issues here or there. But whatever. Again, God damn it, I promise I'll try and be more positive moving on. I'll try. Alright, moving on. Assassin's Creed Valhalla won't have a traditional level system. Article Alessandro Barbosa of GameSpot. Now, when I first heard this, I'm like, okay, please tell me we're going to get away from the system that we saw in Odyssey. I don't think that's 100% true, but I do like the fact that they're getting, supposedly they're getting away from the more traditional idea of level numbers and whatnot, but we'll go into more of this as we read. Assassin's Creed Origins and its sequel Odyssey both redefined Assassin's Creed formula by introducing more role-playing elements into their open world adventures. This included standard level progression, determining what gear you could equip, what enemies would give you a harder time, and more. With Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that won't be the case anymore. Assassin's Creed Valhalla creative director Ashraf Ismail. See, that's another thing that actually does give me hope for this game, is that Ismail is connected to this. He did a great job before. And he was also connected to Origins, was he not? I don't think he was as directly involved with Odyssey. I know he was connected with Origins. I think he was the director of Origins. I could be wrong on that one. And I know he was, heavily. He was, I believe, the director on 4. Again, I say I believe director because I believe that was his title. I just can't remember that far back to AC4. What that was AC4. AC4 was 2013, wasn't it? It was 2014. I want to say 2013. Yeah, 2013. Yeah. I was a sophomore in college. Yeah. Sorry. Gotten distracted again. Either way, having Ashraf, I can't pronounce his name either. God damn. Having him connected to this game is a plus. I will throw that out there. Has explained that Valhalla prioritizes power over numerical levels, which takes into account the skills you've unlocked and the gear you've equipped over a linearly increasing number. Let's see here. Speaking to Game Informer, he added, and I quote, "As part of our fresh take on the RPG elements and progression, I would say it's less about levels and it's more about the sense of power. Based on the skills you have, you gain power. That's how we look at it. Look at that mechanism in the world. It's really about your capacities and what you can do," end quote. He adds that there will still be a number attributed to its power value, son of a bitch, but that it won't be influenced in the same way as both Origins and Odyssey, and I quote, "It's a sense of power rather than levels," end quote, he concluded. See, but that doesn't make sense. You say it's about power, not levels, but you're still assigning numbers to it. See, I'm going to keep going back to Syndicate, because I think Syndicate did it in the right ways. I mean, yeah, it was still a little too video gamey, how the levels worked. But, or you know what, if anything, and I know, there was some article out there that I just didn't include it here, that said we're not worried about comparisons to God of War, but you know what, do it the way that God of War did it. Where, yeah, there was a level cap, and yeah, at some point that there was no way in hell you were going to take down super strong enemies at a low level, although people have done it. It's just, I'm trying to think here. Do something with that's similar to what God of War did, where it's more skill-based. Not skill-based as in my RPG unlocked skills, as in what me as a player, how I can use the systems and the gameplay. Let that be the determining factor and not the numbers of just getting better gear. Because again, this is what I'm talking about, how the gear in Odyssey felt so much just like I was playing The Division. That's how that felt, and it was boring. I really don't want that to come back. Let's see here. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will let you customize the playstyle using a large skill tree, letting you cater the type of Viking you want to play as. Speaking to Press Start, Ismail explained that this allows players to, quote, enjoy the experience of the game as they want in terms of the RPG progression, end quote. Despite moving away from some of Assassin's Creed Odyssey's core systems, Valhalla will still let you choose. Okay, we already read about that. Story also follows on from Odyssey's DLC and will act as a conclusion to the story that started with Assassin's Creed Origins. Check out the reveal trailer above our pre-games. Well, and again, started with Origins. Whatever, man. I gotta finish Odyssey before this game comes out because I really haven't even finished Odyssey. Sorry, I'm trying to get back because again, I said I was going to be positive. Again, I think Odyssey has made me so ungodly pessimistic. Stop showing me women working out in their butts. That's distracting. I knocked something over. Odyssey has made me so jaded on this franchise that I'm hearing him talk about this, and I trust Ismail, and I want to trust the studio to do something here. I think a lot of these things, this new level system that they're apparently putting in, this stuff that we're going to be talking about in the next article or two, I trust that if executed well, it's going to be good. If executed like Odyssey, the game's going to suck. That's where I'm standing. All right, moving on. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will let you lead a Viking warband in Saxon England. Article Fraser Brown, PC Gamer. See, this is actually what I'm most excited for. This is something I brought up during the premiere trailer, and I'm really glad I was right that we do get to do this. That we get to like lead a group of Vikings in our little clan against the Englishmen. God damn it, that's gonna be cool. I was really hoping for this, and from just kind of the vibe I'm getting from how I'm reading of how this is going to work, it reminds me a lot of, in a weird way, of probably my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. But actually, that's not a bad thing either, because it was probably one of the better features from my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. And I'm talking Revelations, by the way. I'm not talking Odyssey. I hated Revelations, but we'll get into that as we go here. Let's see here. After Assassin's Creed Valhalla's 8-hour setting reveal on Wednesday, which gave us some art and a name, I still hated that. I thought that was a massive just dick move from Ubisoft, but that might just be me. I was ready for something a bit meatier. Today we got a cinematic trailer, so we're still left guessing about a lot of things, but we know a bit more about the setting this time, though much of it could have been guessed from the first piece of art. The series has drifted away from its stealth roots for a long time now, finally becoming a full RPG in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Well, and see, that's the problem. You're acting like, sure, there's still stealth, but action progression has taken over. No, at its core, it still needs to be about stealth. Hell, that's what I think AC4 still did. It let you be allowed. It was allowing you to be a loud, obnoxious pirate game, but deep down, it still had some great stealth segments. I could do without the ship stealth, but god damn it, I don't know. Again. Depending on how it's executed, this could be great. I miss the stealth stuff. I do. Sorry. Where the hell was I? Or at least if you're gonna, even if you're walking away from the stealth, just make the stealth still good. That was again, with Odyssey, I thought the stealth sucked. It wasn't even fun to do. It's much better as an RPG than it ever was as a stealth series. Heavily disagree with that. Mostly because it still feels it doesn't feel like I don't know, man. I'm trying to think the best way to put it. If I want to play an RPG, I'm not going to play Odyssey. I'm going to play I'm going to play The Witcher. I'm going to play a much better RPG. If I want to play an hack and slash action game, I'm going to play different games because there are so much better ones than what Odyssey did. It's just, it felt, again, they're transitioning the series. It's like they're saying they're transitioning the series from one thing to another, but there are so many games that do it so much better. It's just mediocre. When, you know what, at least as a stealth game, it had some identity. That's at least my take. Sorry, I got annoyed by writing. Valhalla appears to be continuing the trend of the trailer, focusing almost entirely on the battle between the Saxons and the Vikings. And see, I don't mind that. I don't mind having those big battles, too. But still, I want my stealth fun. Let's see. Though apparently assassinations and the infamous Hidden Blade haven't been done away with. Like they were in Odyssey. Sorry. God damn it. You'll be playing as one of the latter, of course, with the Saxons as our adversaries. This should make things pretty interesting, making us the invaders. Rather than a wandering mercenary, the protagonist is the head of a clan, so expect to lead your warriors into battle as they scrap with Saxons and take on their fortresses. And will again be an RPG with advanced RPG mechanics. We talked about that. With every choice you make, from political alliances, combat strategy, to dialogue and gear progression, you will carve your own path to glory, end quote, says Ubisoft. See, this is a big thing for me. They're talking about political alliances and combat strategies and all that stuff. I'm really hoping the dialogue amounts to something this time around. I never really got that out of Odyssey. To me, they were like, oh, look, for the first time we're including dialogue options and all this stuff, like it's going to mean something. But no, it's like the dialogue options that you have in a Persona game, where it's just you can say different things, but at the end of the day, it still takes you on the same path. At that point, at least in my Assassin's Creed games, I don't need dialogue options. Just give me beautifully rendered cutscenes instead of that just... how to put it, and I know this is going to irritate some people. I don't mind it when you have cutscenes that are running on, that really put the engine through its paces, and then when you're in a gameplay section, it's a little more toned down. I know there are games that do this, and I feel like a lot of games that have these sort of dialogue options, especially do that. Look at what Horizon did. When you were in a side quest talking to people, with their dialogue options, you could see Aloy looked like, I think I said this when I reviewed it, actually said she kind of looked like a puppet, but she looked really beautiful in cutscenes. The cutscenes of the game looked really good, and then those little dialogue sections didn't. So that's what I'd much rather, instead of dialogue options for the sake of dialogue options, they either have a purpose or you take them out entirely. So, again, that's just something I'm curious about. Are the dialogue options this time around going to matter? Or are they going to be like in Odyssey? It shouldn't be a surprise that boats are returning either. They first appeared in Assassin's Creed 3, but it was Black Flag that made them the star. They returned again as a big part in Odyssey, and they still sucked. God damn it. It sent Cassandra and Alexios on a big island hopping adventure. It sucked. And if there's one thing the Vikings are famous for, aside from all the pillaging, it's monkeying about on longships. You'll sail from Norway to England and beyond. Though how much of the region we'll be able to explore remains to be unseen. There's some settlement management too, where you'll construct and upgrade buildings like barracks and even a tattoo parlor. From there, you'll be able to recruit new warriors and customize the appearance of your big band of Vikings. Now, before I talk about the cool shit that was just mentioned, again, we got to go back to Odyssey. Odyssey, man, had, again, remember when I said the game had no soul? That's what the boat segments felt like to me in Odyssey. I knew so many people who told me, AJ, don't you love the boats? I'm like, no, I hated them. They're like, oh, are you kidding me? It's so cool to be back on a ship again and firing the arrows. And I'm like, yeah, the arrows felt like machine guns, everything. It didn't feel like the kind of, if I want to play like naval combat in an Assassin's Creed game, I'm not picking Odyssey. I'm going back to being a pirate in AC4, because in AC4, those ships were fucking awesome. It was ridiculously fun to play as them. I felt like I had so many more tools. It actually felt like it wasn't just something that they just slapped together and threw in the game like it did in Odyssey. It was a core element. And again, this is what I keep saying. This is my whole thing. I keep going on to a negative thing because all these articles are trying to say, oh my gosh, Odyssey did this, so this game's going to be great. I'm like, oh, Odyssey did this. That worries me. That's how I am, because that's what Odyssey was to me. Again, it's what I said. Odyssey had no soul, in my opinion, compared to some of these other ones. So I'm really hoping that that every part of Valhalla feels like it's, even if it's a borrowed mechanic, it still feels tailor-made. It still feels like it was built to be put in this game, instead of what Odyssey felt like, other than the cultist menu, even though I know that was kind of borrowed from Ghost Recon Wildlands. I thought the cultist menu was probably the most fun of that game. Everything else just kind of felt thrown in. I really hope that there's some care put into Valhalla. That's my biggest thing. Now, let's talk about this cool shit, this settlement management. I love this idea. I was really hoping for this, because this is what I mentioned during the trailer. I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if we can, I said, I really hope that we actually get to customize this warband and kind of make, have this settlement sort of management thing. And they're taking it even further, because apparently you can customize the appearance of your Vikings and all this. I hope it's also not a simple, well, here's a costume for all your Vikings to look at. And I think the next article is kind of a recap of everything we know. There's going to be some overlap between these articles as well, but in that one, I think it says something that you can actually, again, from tattoos and hairstyles and weaponry and everything, you can really customize your Vikings. It reminds me of something from Revelations, which honestly is an Assassin's Creed game I'm not a fan of. I really did not like Revelations. The story was boring to me. I didn't like, at that point I was done with Ezio. Honestly, I like Brotherhood more than that one. You want to know a more controversial opinion? Out of the Ezio trilogy, Brotherhood was my favorite. There you go. I said it. But no, I really liked in Brotherhood the whole recruiting members for the assassins and sending them out on missions and everything. I thought that was really cool. And then they kind of brought that back in Revelations, and at some point you could set them in charge of the Assassin's Towers. Now, if I mention the Assassin's Towers, I have to mention those weird tower defense missions that I just skipped because they sucked. But I at least give them some credit for trying something new with those. I mean, that was kind of interesting. It could have worked. It was just more trouble than it was worth. But back on point, the person that you assigned as kind of like the head of those towers, they would have like a little kind of their own little side story with them fighting against the Templar. It gave them some personality. I actually really like that bit of Revelations, and I'm kind of hoping we get to see the same thing with the Vikings, that we can have some Vikings be, that we're kind of leading up to be like leaders of like little battalions, or however the Viking army or your war bands are structured. There's got to be like leaders or whatever. But I really hope we get some like interaction with them, maybe some side quests. Just like I said, I really hope it's more involved than it is not involved. Is what I'm saying. Because I'd really think we'd have some fun with that. All right, finally we have one of those everything we know sort of articles by PC Gamer. So we're just kind of gonna run through things here. This is just kind of a wrap up of everything that we know. These are going to be some kind of like some quick takes from stuff that we've talked about in the previous articles. Like I said, there's going to be some crossover. There's going to be some maybe some more details or whatever. But I'll make comments as we go. So when's Valhalla's release date? It's going to be 2020. Going to be set up for the next generation. I believe it's been confirmed that this and that Valhalla and Legion, or Watch Dogs Legion, are both going to be launch titles for the next-gen consoles. I believe Legion... I'm not sure. I don't think Legion's going to be at launch, but I think Legion's going to be close to launch. I think before 2021. I need to go reread that article again, but... let's see here. We can watch the trailer for Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that's the trailer, whatever. Who's the protagonist? Plays Ivor, Viking warrior and clan leader. While not shown in the trailer, players will be able to choose from which version of Ivor they want to play as, male or female. Look at the female Ivor in figurine form. Comes with the pricey 200 physical collector's edition. Though we don't yet know if there's any in-game difference between the two versions of Ivor besides appearance and a different voice actor. Like I said, I kind of hope they're... I don't know. Maybe I would like to see a little bit of a difference between them. Again, just something to... I'm trying to think the best. Again, it's like I said. It's just so it feels like there's a difference depending on which character we pick. Because again, in Odyssey, to me, it just felt like I was just a husk. When and where is Valhalla set? So if you want any more definitive ideas of the exact time and place, Valhalla takes place in England in the 9th century, beginning of the year 873. Clint has left Norway behind to start a new life in England, which may be slightly more hospitable, but staking out some new territory won't be easy, so you have to deal with the Saxons, who aren't thrilled about your presence in real history. Vikings armies, something about that doesn't seem right, invaded and conquered much of England between 860 and 900 AD, but smaller raids were happening decades before that. King Alfred the Great of Wessex, a real figure, is in the Valhalla trailer. Above sending his soldiers out to battle the Vikings, he was one of the few English rulers to successfully beat back the Norse armies. Is Valhalla an RPG like Odyssey? We already know that it is. The advanced mechanics that don't sound that different to me, but whatever. We'll have to wait till we see them in practice. Back to the whole setting thing, and I said this in the trailer. I really kind of hope they're going to play to that voiceover that was playing in the trailer, because that we're going to see a lot of almost misconceptions about the Vikings coming from the English, or that we're going to see a lot of them be afraid, almost kind of like when oh my god, what Adler, the character from RDR2, from Red Dead Redemption 2, that you meet her at the very beginning. I'm trying to remember. Was it Stacy? I feel like it was Stacy. I can't remember her name. Wow. I need to go back and play Red Dead Redemption 2 again. Either way, she was... I kind of want to see a similar character in Valhalla, where like an English character actually ends up kind of with the Vikings and sees that they're not so bad, that they aren't so different from us. That kind of, that sort of the what was it was that Al Pacino and was it Al Pacino and Robert De Niro? That was in Heat, wasn't it? Whereas we're not so different, you and I. That was that Heat? I think that was De Niro and Pacino. Either way, I'm kind of hoping we're going to see something like that, because that voiceover was all from the point of view of the English, saying how the Vikings they're just bloodthirsty killers and they're monsters and all that. And you see, Ivor tells warriors not to strike down women and children. You see the Vikings playing with their kids and whatever. They're different. We have different cultures, but they're still people. They're still whatever. So I'm kind of hoping that we get to see some of that play out in the story. I'm sure we will, because it was a big part of the trailer. But I really hope that it isn't just kind of pushed to the side. That maybe it would be almost one of the main focuses of the narrative, is that sort of idea that there is no real difference between these boundaries, or at some level we can all find common ground. I don't know. I'm curious. What does combat look like? There's a big battle in the cinematic trailer. Creative director Ashraf Ismail talks details in the developer's commentary video. If you're going to make a Viking game, combat needs to be visceral. It needs to be quite brutal, he says. Ismail says there will be a big epic scale battles in the game. In addition to raids, it's hard to extrapolate how combat will really feel from a cinematic trailer, but it does contain some of the things we'll encounter in the game, including some very tall, heavily armored Saxon warriors. Ismail says these soldiers will have some weak points, which is hinted in the video when Ivor stabs him through the knee. Excuse me. When I really start talking like this fast, I forget to breathe. Excuse me, my throat gets dry. Let's see here. Here's some notes. Ivor's confirmed combat abilities. There are throwing axes. Obviously, you can throw them. You can dual wield pretty much all combination of weapons, even 2 shields if you want. 2 axes sound better to us. Oh, definitely. That's going to be my weapon of choice. It's going to be dual axes. Let's see here. The classic Assassin's Hidden Blade is back, although it's less hidden this time. It comes out of a chamber on the top of Ivor's gauntlet. Honestly, I like it. I said this in the trailer. The Assassin's Blade has always been a weapon. To steal something from Star Wars. What is it? It's an elegant weapon from a more civilized time. It's always been. There's been a brutality to it, but it's almost been. You see with the dual hidden blades with Ezio in 2 and Brotherhood and all that. When he kind of delivers those quick pinpoint stabs. It's brutal in a way, but it's also almost like dancing. It's very light. It's very quick and to the point. It's very, with all these palm strikes and everything that all the characters are doing in every iteration of the hidden blade. Connor was a little different in 3 when, the whole running assassination where you could like run, grab them, pick them up and keep going. I loved that though. That was really cool. But with Ivor, it's at the top of his wrist. So it's almost just for punching. It adds to that bit more visceral nature to it, where he can just, just punch through a helmet. I really like the hidden blade on this one, even though, again, it's not hidden, but honestly, that's a change I don't mind. Let's keep going here. Manage a settlement. We kind of talked about this in the last one. Assassin's Creed has occasionally delved into customizable bases in the past, but in the Valhalla base management will play a major role. I like that. It's your own Viking village. You'll see prosper and grow, which your clanmates will live in. Lead producer Julian Lafayette. I don't know. It's also the center of our quest and the center of the decisions you make. We want players to see the consequences of their actions. That gives me hope for the dialogue options. That gives me more hope that they're going to be something more than just, here's a different way to say the same thing. No, it actually looks like there are going to be choices to make. I like that. You'll manage and grow a Viking settlement in England, which will include constructing and upgrading various buildings like barracks, blacksmiths, even tattoo parlors, so you can keep yourself and your clan inked up. I like the tattoo parlor for customization. The barracks could be interesting, because there might be a class system for your Vikings or whatever, maybe, because I'm kind of hoping they're going to bring back that thing from Revelations and Brotherhood, where you could send your assassins out on missions. I think that could be really cool. So, you could kind of like make like little other, like, you have your little village, but you could send groups of your soldiers off to do certain things, but you need certain, like, but okay, here's maybe the enemy kind of enemies you're going to be facing off. Do you want axe wielders? Do you want sword and shields? Do you want great swords? Or, you like pick a kind of weapons or combinations of groups of weapons that you want to send on this sort of battle. I could see, like barracks having an effect on that. The idea of the blacksmith is interesting. Or probably the most interesting to me, because this is something that I was mentioning earlier of how the gear system in the previous games felt just so bland to me, or at least how it felt like in Odyssey, where it was just it felt like trading cards. It felt like whatever they did in the Division. I'd love to see it to actually bring in materials and actually see them craft weapons for you, like give a little bit more weight and importance to the weapon than it's just some disposable thing that I'm going to play with for 15 minutes. I mean, look, that kind of gameplay has a fit, and it fits in MMOs, but in this kind of game I want to kind of have the weapon be like a part of me, your Viking axe sort of. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I want it to be kind of cool like that. Can I share my custom raiders with my friends? As you expand, or you can share your custom Viking raiders with your friends. As you expand your Vikings clan's reach from Norway into England, you'll lead massive raids against your Saxon enemies, launch attacks from your longboats, conquer Saxon forts. Kind of reminds me of those forts from 3, but not important. Even do a bit of diplomacy. Apparently, you'll be able to forge alliances with some of the lords of England, even though you don't have details of exactly how that will work yet. You'll also be able to build unique mercenary Viking raiders to fight alongside your clan, and you'll be able to share these marauders with your friends for them to use in their own raids. You can even share some loot with your friends, use your custom Vikings in their games. Valhalla won't launch on Steam. Interesting. Following the Division 2's exclusive PC release on the Epic Game Store rather than Steam, Ubisoft said it would be releasing several more games on... Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, I thought they were going to release it all through Uplay, but no, okay, they're going through Epic. Now we know Assassin's Creed Valhalla is one of them. Will there be smooching? There was a lot of romance in Odyssey, and Valhalla is carrying forward that game's advanced RPG mechanics. Love in the time of Vikings can apparently happen. Okay. Will present-day story continue? Yep, the modern-day character of Layla Hassan first appeared in Assassin's Creed Origins, and then again in Odyssey, and the players will inhabit her for a third time in Valhalla. We found a way to blend the present day into a new type of experience for players. Lead producer Julian whatever. Again, I just want it better than what Origins, or than what Odyssey did, because I actually like the modern-day stuff in Origins. I thought it was fun. I liked the character of Layla. I kind of liked the little sections that we got to do some platforming with her. It was very Desmond-y. I liked that. And then Odyssey, I was stuck in a safe house, and I could walk around and read emails. Yay. And mix that with the fact that I didn't understand what happened in between the ending of Origins and the beginning of Odyssey, because it seemed like there was some story there that I have a feeling was told in a goddamn comic book. That really irritates me. But either way, I'm glad the modern day is back. I don't know. Again, it's one of those, I'll have to see it. What's up with the bear? Do we get a pet bear? Well, we don't know for sure yet, but there's a picture of Ivor next to a badass bear that would seem to suggest we spend some time with a bear in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We are definitely in favor of spending time with badass bear, animal tamings and Origins and Odyssey. No, that has to do with... God damn it, because that was shown at the end of the trailer, that picture. I think if you play on PS4 or something, or was it pre-order to get a special in-game mission, and that was something about berserkers, which, from what I know of Viking lore or whatever, that berserkers were believed that they ate special mushrooms or certain herbs or whatever, they could basically morph into a bear or other animals. Yeah, we get to see stuff in like that in with the Skelligers in The Witcher, which honestly is kind of what I'm hoping this takes some notes from. It takes some notes from the Skelligers from The Witcher, or that I don't know. Honestly, if they wanted to go more action RPG and they focused themselves a little more on The Witcher, I wouldn't mind it, but maybe that's because The Witcher was so fucking good. But no, I'm not gonna chew your ear off here. I think I've made myself pretty clear what I like and what I don't like. Again, I think it all comes down to, and I know while I have been negative about this, there's another part of me that is super optimistic and likes what I'm hearing about this game. It's just when the last game, in my opinion, always my opinion, if you liked Odyssey, hey man, you liked Odyssey. I did not. And look, I'm not an authority or whatever. I'm just some dude who's sitting here and giving you my opinion. Look, with the last game, I didn't like it. So this next one does make me a little afraid of what I'm hearing. So I can't help but see some of the stuff from a negative connotation. That being said, this franchise has had some massive ups and some massive downs. I'm really hoping that they recover from this down with a massive up, similar to what Syndicate did with, similar to what I'll try this one more time. Similar to what Syndicate did with Assassin's Creed Unity. Unity was a valley, Syndicate was a peak. So you know what? I'm counting Odyssey for me as a valley. I'm hoping Valhalla is a peak. I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. Social media is in the description. Like, comment, not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Till next time, well, I guess tomorrow. My name's AJ Gels. This is Something Gaming Channel. I'm out.